Right, morning everybody. Let me get organised. Okay. That's wild. Right, that'll do for now. Okay. Right, who's here? All right. Hi Tim, how are you doing? Oh, Stellion, good to see you on here. What's happening? And good morning, Graham. Oh, very good. Oh, and Troll's here. Hi, Troll. So here we are, and what I thought I'd do is, because obviously I'm planning YouTube videos, and I thought one of them, and I don't know if it'll be easy or not, but I thought I'd just have show everybody just building a template. So the thing about a template, right, is what you want to do is you want to primarily save yourself tons of time, don't you? That's what it's about. So it's a bit like, having your studio wired up and ready to go. But in the digital world, you see, what you wouldn't do in the real world is every time you want to make music, get everything out and plug it in, would you? You would kind of just have your studio set up, everything plugged in and ready to go. And this is what we need to be doing, basically, in our virtual world that we live in. So that's what we're going to do today. So there's a couple of ways we can do this. We can do it the third-party plugin way, which is obviously like my template. So, I mean, primarily, I'm using a lot of SSL stuff and third-party synths. Hi, Sean. Or, we can do it with basically all the native stuff. I mean, either way is very good, but I'll probably go third-party. And then I can explain like bits as I go along. Yes, Troll, I did read that. That was really good, and I think you should have your own. You should have your own channel. That's what I think. You should have your own channel about that. That'd be good. Yeah. I suppose it's a good thing to look a bit like Kirk, isn't it? Could be worse. So yes, I'll implement those changes that you've suggested, Troll. I'll do that forthwith. Right. So, firstly, one thing that I've got going on here is I'm completely unprepared for this morning, and the reason for that is because my daughter decided to get on the machine, this one, and play Roblox, and I didn't have the heart to pull her off. And then I was too tired to plan anything, but I thought, hey, it's a template, so where do you start with a template? Really, nothing. So I'm going to quickly just flick over and just open up a project, and then we'll take it from there. Right. So what I want is, we'll go from scratch, yeah? That's scary. And then you can see the various phases of this, yeah. Right, I'm back. Hopefully you can hear me there okay. Roblox time is important, Sean, really. Yeah, so I couldn't do anything. But hey, I've done the preparation now. It took as long as that, so I just had to load my mic in. And we'll get rid of everything. So there, I've only got one mic, and that's my live mic, and that doesn't really count, does it? Okay. So I think I will use some third-party stuff, because one thing with a template, right, is you need to have. So yes, it needs to save time, and you need all of the repetitive tasks that you do pretty much throughout all of your creative process. You kind of want to have in your template. But also with your template, you want to make sure that the things that you're putting in there at first are instruments that are wide, interesting, unique, and deep. All right. In other words, they're going to keep you engaged. And there's a couple of approaches that you can have with that. So we'll have a look at that as well. But firstly, we're going to work off the principle of beats plus 3. So this is something that I've talked about a little bit. Also, Troll, what do you think of the new angle? I'm trying to, because I'm going to be making YouTube videos, you see. I've had to kind of reset up the camera so I can actually look into it. For when I'm teaching. Oop, I've said the teaching word. So I can look in and check. Check people. Yes, you there. Listen up. If you're not doing this, you're doing it wrong. Yeah, so I can look in the camera and do that. All right, thanks, Troll, for turning up and checking in. I'll see you, yes. It won't be this one because I'll do it all again. I'm just organising my thoughts with you guys. I just thought, right, let's do a live and just chaotically make a template so I can see, what's good. All right then, so let's go the third-party plugin route, okay? And then I can explain how you can do it with native stuff as you go along. So the first thing that I'm going to pull in here, right, and this is going to be a bit, I made this. Here's one I made earlier. In fact, XLN. So here we go, XLN audio and XO. So I'm going to drop that in. So that's the first thing. And this, right, so for drums, this is what you want. That's my drums. XO is the drum machine. Why? Because you've got instant access to all of your one-shots. All right. So this is just a basic template to splurge on, okay? So I've got, if I want to kick, tell you what, we'll aim this at synthwave, all right? So if I want to kick, let's pick Avenge. Right, here we go. So let's have that. It's pretty easy to get your kicks and stuff. There's a snare. Maybe I'll have that. That sounds good. Hand clap. Hi-hat. I'm going to stick that in the open hi-hat. That's quite good. Alright. And, it's as quick as that, and you can get your drums sort of on the go. And then what you could do is you could just then start putting the drums in. and put a basic beat in. So, don't need that. Right, let's go for a little bit of a dancey thing on like that. Right, and there's my beat. And then the cool thing is when you don't like stuff on XO, it's easy to change, yeah? So you can just go to the kicks. Tell you what, I'll need this more of a break. Right. So yeah, it's just really easy to change your sound. So in other words, if we don't like the kick, we can just, that's got more atmosphere. If I don't like the snare, that's good. We'll have that. So yeah, and you can just leave some drums in like that, and yeah, you're good to go. And then secondly, what we can do is we're just going to work with bass. So we're going to have bass, some sort of chord thing, or mid-range instrument, and then lead. So you could work sort of on that principle. For synthwave, actually, what I tend to do is I tend to have, if it's a really basic template, this is based on sort of when I'm making a track, the things that really help me the most, if I'm really sort of got quite a limited template like this, so the beats +3, I'll have some sort of arpeggio thing in the lead. Because I can normally tell if a song's going to be good just between the bass and the lead. You can kind of come up with something quite catchy between those two things. But I do like an ARP channel because simply you can build something that I can play against, which I'll show you in a second. So we'll pick a synth. All right. Now for me, my go-to is the Tal stuff, right? So let's go to synths and we'll pick Tal. Okay. I'll check the chat as well. iOS for music making. Hi Atari, how are you doing? iOS, right? So I do have a few apps that I'll occasionally use on, basically on my phone. So I quite like Oxy and I quite like Gadget, but I very rarely use them, to be fair. Right. So let's get oh, that's more my lead. Hold on. Let's get the bass up. Bass line. So bass line, love that. Now, the trick here, right? The reason I use this is simply I'll just make this bass. I'll pick one patch, right? And it's always this patch to start me off on. And then what I can do is I can mold that. Everybody's probably sick of hearing that. But that's the bit, that's the bass line I'll use, right, to do stuff. Having said that, for today, a real recommendation for synths has got to be Diva. So this is like really good, and it's got, you know, tons of presets. So good for preset splurging. You know, so you can just like get it onto a preset that you think, you know, will do, that you're going to use. And then next, let's put Diva on everything. We can swap these about. So Diva is a really good choice simply because it has got tons of presets and it's really quick to sort of just dial things in. And the cool thing about it is a bit like, I suppose the idea behind this is it's a bit like using the OX drum kit. You can quickly just grab sounds because they're all categorized and quickly pick something, and you can do preset splurging. So I've got my 3. So like now, what the process is, I've got my drums, I've got my bass, I've got my ARP, and I've got my lead, right? So I was listening to some synthwave in the car. And what I tend to do as well is I'll just close these down a bit. And then just start really from the get-go making some music. Alright, so let's get some bass in. So I'm a bit banging this at the minute. And then we can quickly get some sort of an ARP in. So the cool thing to do is just go to Plux maybe and pick something and hope for the best. So I quite like doing little loops like this. Get a lead. Okay. Right, so, hi Jeff, how's it going? So, I've done a little bit of a splurge there, right, which is great, and just using, Diva. So, a few things I would then probably do here is I would do my wins, problems, and opportunities and work out, okay, what do I need to do here? So, one thing that I'd be struggling with is just to make things to make what I'm doing more interesting. Okay, so I would allow myself to add another instrument, and let's say interest. So an interest instrument is good. And another one I'll add is background, which is also, I suppose, in a way like interest. Let's go. I'll do that as audio. Right. And then texture. I'll just put texture. So I think like the thing about having a texture track is really, really handy, because what we can do is we can just get like a bit of noise and put that in the background, because I think things can sound, when we're using a lot of synths, like really digital, and just having something like this can really help. And then for interest, I'll tell you what, this lead. Funny tune, innit? And then the other thing would be like creating an interest channel. So on this one, what I tend to use would be arcade. So there's a few different things I can do here. So this in particular would be interest for drums that I'm thinking about. So if I get arcade up, and I'll just take all of this off. And then the cool thing about this is there's a particular thing that I like. Somewhere here. And this is just, I'll use this because it's just quick and I can edit it later on. So interest, and then this is the random factor. So we can have a listen and see how that sounds. I'll trigger everything. And now we've got a bit of something going pretty quick. Right, thinking about buying a hardware sequencer, Stallion. Very good. I mean, I do dabble with hardware here and there, and it always inevitably ends up in a cupboard. Because then finishing stuff becomes quite hard. I mean, like with anything, like struggling with a keyboard and mouse, it's practice, isn't it? Okay, so not the greatest piece of music in the world, but there it is. So we've got a few instruments on the go, and really, you know, you can just create stuff with this quite easily. These 3 instruments, and then you can add stuff in like a chord instrument or whatever you fancy. So another instrument that I would add. So I mean, like with something like Diva. So Diva's all about like analog additive synth. So my favorite go-to for like other things would be Serum. Okay. And then I'll have some kind of stuff that I'll have. So maybe loud, isn't it? Oh, my headphones are really loud. So just for our little splurge we're doing here, let's have some sort of. I'm hoping for some sort of a pad. We got pads? No. Has this got something? So I'd use this just for more FM digitally sort of sounding stuff, just to contrast. It's great to like contrast with like analog stuff, you know. And there's the first sort of splurge with this. So that's sort of the creative side of the template, and I'd probably call Serum something like random. Oops. Okay. So that's sort of one flavor of how you can do your instruments, all right? So that's sort of like picking something like Serum, where you can sort of change the whole patches and stuff like that. But what I do is I have a particular set of like sounds that are my go-tos that I'll actually put in here that are already set up, which saves even more time. So I'll tell you what we could do. I'm just thinking if we can do that. I'll tell you what, we'll just move on, and before we go back to that, we'll just press on. Okay. and we'll build this up a bit. So the first thing you probably want to do is a bit of gain staging. So normally I would do my wins, problems, opportunities, and then I'd work out kind of what I want to do next. So the first lot of wins, problems, opportunities were like, okay, I'm bored. It's usually I'm bored of my first, like 3 instruments, right? Always doing the same thing. And then you can add your interest and your random in there and a texture, which are like super handy. And then the next thing really is, for me, as we start adding plugins, is just to add a little bit of gain staging. And all that is about is I just add a utility plugin before, after my synths or whatever. But this is something that happens on every channel. So if I just get a utility plugin, and I'll drop this on everything really. So drums will have one, and this will be -6. Is usually my starting point. So this will sound like absolute crap. Okay, and then this will go pretty much on everything. Unless the drums have got a bit of gain stage on them, so I think actually with EXO, it's sort of there. Oh, and there. We've got everybody. Texture's got one. I'll bump this one up. So one of the things I'll do here with EXO is you wanna make sure just your kick drum, okay, is hitting round about -12. So 14's perfectly fine. And that's just, and it doesn't really matter what style of music you're doing. If you're around about 12, 14, what that means is you're gonna have plenty of headroom, and you're not gonna run into problems where you're gonna be distorting your master. That's the first thing. Okay, and then the next thing you can do is then just do a little bit of balancing with all your other instruments. So you can do this on one of your splurge projects. There's no sidechain, no. This is just all groove. Okay, let's just go with the native stuff, right? So the next thing you want to do, so this is riding out template, because I remember like Thomas and I would decided, initially one of our ideas were to like give away the full templates of the tracks. So I remember like the earlier stuff was the earlier releases before we did the Riding Out album were actually just all, if you ever hear those, are all just Ableton really. Okay, so the next thing you can do is we can start looking at using an EQ. So what I'll tend to do is just set this so we've got a low pass and a high pass, and they're ready to go like that. And then that just goes onto every channel. And I don't like, I mean, you just want to get into making the music. You don't necessarily want to get in mixing, but there are certain things that I would do just in this early stage just to help out. And so something like this background noise, if we look here, we can see there's a bit of a lump down here in the subs, which is quite loud. So I would just, because I've got the EQ set up, I can just take that away. That's the first thing. And if it annoys you as well, that's another thing. So on interest, right, fundamentally I like the sound, but I want to take a bit of that airiness out. Another thing is what I would suggest is, you know, this lead sound I particularly don't like. So ideally you have this all set up. So what I would do is I'd think, well, what can I do to this sound to make it fit the music, so to speak, you know? So the only problem that you run in is because like the interface changes like all the time when you're using like different analog synths on Diva. So you have to just get good at like knowing what each thing does. This is particularly like a synth I don't really spend a lot of time in. So you can see how that's sort of like taking me out of my flow, right? So that kind of would be a win. So that potentially could be a problem. So what I could do is take that out, go tal, and stick in this. And then I have Hutch, and like one of these things, Hutch everything synth, right? Now, and this is a lot easier to deal with because I can just modify it as I feel fit and make it fit in the synth. See, brilliant, just move the envelope and it's nice and bright and it fits perfectly. Yeah, the thing is, I'll have to edit it down, won't I, Sean? So basically, you guys are the guinea pigs. What I'm doing here is just planning for that, really. Anyway, let's press on, because there might be a part 2 to this, and then I'll have to condense it all down, won't I? So anyway, we've got our EQ set up. We've decided through our wins, problems, and opportunities that actually we've got like a synth like that. So I was listening to there's a new there was an album come out on new Retrowave. I was listening to it in the car. Stills, the guy's called. I think it's spelled STILZ, because I was having a sudden thing of like, oh, I want to do synths, right, and guitars, but like do synths again, right? So I was listening to his album. Actually, I quite liked it, and it was just interesting, just reminding myself how sort of electronic tracks are made in that genre. So, I mean, this is I think this is a good example of getting it going. But fundamentally, right, that's your band, isn't it? What I've got there is the band, and this is like an excellent sort of splurge type machine to do, right? But, you know, we may want some extra control. Now, just remember, you know, it's the wins, problems, and opportunities which are really, really important here. Because I'm just fast tracking through this process that I've done for years. But fundamentally, it's doing that. It's actually doing a session, and then I'm going, right, what went well? Well, I really liked Diva doing the bass. I really liked it doing the arpeggio. That was quite good. Struggled on the lead. Find something easy to use that you can edit. Tal goes in, and then that's my one improvement for that session. Okay, gain staging was a bit wrong. I find it hard to control the levels and distorting the plugins in the chain, which is why utilities in there. So that might be something that happens later on in the process when you come to mixing. You find, all right, I'm having to like turn things down in the plugin on the chain because they're distorting into the plugin. So that's why that's there. That's like a safeguard for that. So that would be something else that comes out of win, problems, and opportunities. So fundamentally, what we're doing is we are creating our own problems, and then we're solving our problems every session. And this is why it's really important to always do your wins, problems, and opportunities every session. So, and there's a lot you can do. You know, it's a decent sound. But then, you know, we can. Where am I? Whoop! Don't that. There we go. It's the tutorial scene. Teaching. Here we go. All right. So anyway, all good, all sounding smooth, brilliant. Have you tried using, say, SSL channel strip and controlling the gain with the fader? Yes, Stallion, and that's a good call. So that's in my main template. All right. So we can go down that route, but I'm just thinking, right, for now, I'll use, you know, everybody's going to have the native plugins, okay? So, and because we're sort of at the splurge setup stage, and the SSL is actually solving like lots of problems that technically at this stage we haven't fully had, but yes, the SSL is a complete game changer when it comes to that. And we'll touch on that because that's something we can do in a minute. Right, so there we go. Now, this is my band, and I can decide, right, okay, let's do something else. Let's do a different beat. I'm going to stick with the same tempo, though. And I'm going to do... We're getting a bit dancier now. So, here we go. So I fancy doing this kind of thing. And then, right, we're going to get the bass on. And then this bass is going to be going. And we're going to go probably into a different key. Let's do this sort of thing going on like this. Tell you what, we'll modulate. We'll go here. Okay, and then I'll think of some other arpeggio idea. Think pentatonic scalar. Oh, that was the last one. Right. And then what I'll do is just move some notes about, so I think we're in E minor. And we'll go for like just group of 3. So, new splurge. So what I would find here, right, is again with Diva, right, I'm in a situation. So I want to do something like that. I've got this bass on a preset. So I'm now flicking about presets, like, and I don't want to be in that situation. So I might just lose that instrument for now, and I might then decide to get in tal bassline. And then on this, it's a bit easier because, just like using the Juno, I can go in, get my usual preset up. Alright. And then again on this ARP, why not just get this in, and again I'll just use bizarrely enough the bass preset. Okay, and we'll just bump that up a bit. Now it's just a question of massaging these things into place now, so I don't have to preset hunt, but I can simply just yes. I can just massage it into place. So here we've got this. Let's make this into something. Easy got our EQ, we can just take a little bit of the low end off there, get rid of the mud. So, and then I'll probably, you know, as you're doing this, stick in the lead. Alright. So instead of having just one, jumping about here. So instead of just having that one thing on the bass, I might want to have some changes. Maybe get some interest going here. Different one. Get a lead in. So anyway, you know, we're building something up there. So that sounds good. Stick the same texture in, just a bit of noise. And now we've got another idea. And of course, like by doing this, we're creating a little bit of consistency as well. Let's have a look, just check the... I was curious about the order. It seems I got it right. My drums are first at -6, but I might use 2 drum machines, the rest of it individual... Yeah, so you can use as many drum machines as you want. It's just the reason I picked that is it's like, for doing synthwave and electronic music, it's the fastest thing. I think like with synthwave, I like to use a lot of different drums. With dance music, I'd stick with pretty much the same sort of sounds. So when I'm doing dance music, it tends to be just Ableton simplers on different channels. Synthwave, I want to chop and change all the time. So the way I've overcome that problem and to be able to have access to sounds quickly without actually having to come across here and click into, you know, into sample libraries and then go through folders, like EXO's been a changer. It really EXO and addictive drums or battery mostly, yeah. So if it's live stuff, I'll probably go for addictive drums or get good drums. Like I struggle with all those kind of drum things because they're never set up exactly the way that I particularly want them. But I think addictive drums is great just to have a sound, you know, a sound that sounds produced and really good. That saves a lot of work, you know. Okay, so having had a listen to some synthwave lately, one thing somebody had mentioned. How did you create the bounce? Right. So we can go down a sidechain route. So I've got a couple of things for that. One thing I do, and I don't really have a preference for this, but I'm thinking about going to the old way so we can do that, is I really like track spacer. Track spacer. So, you know, and I'll just put this on things that I think are going to create a clash. So certainly I'm going to want this on my drums, right? Now, if you're lazy like me, it's great. So I just want the kick to be, so this track space is on the bass, right? And I'm just wanting to limit the interaction between the bass and the kick. So I want the kick to be louder than the bass and then the bass to fill in the gaps. So you can hear it there. But unfortunately the hi-hats and everything else are triggering this, but we can use a filter and I can just narrow it down. Oh, hi, hello, Oliver. Sorry. Cool. Right, beg your pardon. I have mapped OX and some of the VST. Right, so that's the next thing. That's the next level up. Thing. Yeah, Oliver, things aren't working out. My problems from the other week are all. So no, you're not getting. So basically, what I'm doing is because I'm thinking about doing I am going to be doing YouTube content videos. I'm just doing a little bit of a thing on templates, you know. So minimum third-party plugins, I suppose, for this one. So really, just the main ones that I would use, you know. All right, good info there. Right, SSL is on sale. I strongly suggest getting it. So, okay, track spacer. Not really doing what I would call bounce, but what it is doing is it's just in a really natural way knocking the kick, knocking the bass out the way of the kick. Yeah, so. Switch it off. It's a little bit foggy in the lows. We get a bit more clarity there. So that's one way. The other way, if we're creating bounce, is we want, now let me think, there's a number of options here. And I think the cheapest, quickest one would be just to get Nicky Romero, who's a dance producer, kickstart. So this is on the bass. And that's going to give you that, if you want that synthwave thing. So we've got 100% on the bass there, and we've got pumping. Maybe stick it on some other stuff here. Probably too much. It's cool, it's got a mix knob so you can turn it down. So I tend to give everything a little bit of sidechain usually. There you go. Yeah, so that's another way, right? So that's another way of side chaining. So you can trigger something like with a rim. Now that's a different ball game altogether. So let's say you didn't have kickstart, right? And you're wanting the pumping effect, or you're not wanting the pumping effect, and you're just wanting something that's a bit more maybe that does a bit more in a way. So what you can do, if that was the case, is you get a MIDI channel, and then we get I think 909 rim, and it'll probably do the trick. Just something that's short and snappy. We can literally just bang this in. So I've just got that click going, right? And then what you could do is the only problem with this is, well, we'll not go into that actually because it'll cause mayhem. Dynamics compressor. Right, so now I've got like I've got 3 different flavors of sidechain here now. Basically, we can go sidechain. Input would be from the rim, okay, and I go for infinite, and that's pretty much peak, and then we're good to go really. So we can see the sidechain coming through there. Now, what this allows me to do is control the release more. So because of a kick drum, if you have a kick drum and you sidechain against the kick, you've got the subsonic tail of that kick, right? So when we look at this, and we look at just like maybe the waveform of this, how do you get to the editor? Edit, right? Sort of after the attack, then it gets more and more subby. Now the problem is on the compressors, the kick is fighting against that tail of that kick. And that's where you run into problems like you can't quite control it in the way that you want to do, or worse, it's like the compressor starts to distort. So for this, and then, you know, you just want to get it so it's pumping. And I just set the compressor when I feel like my head's about to start like nodding, then that's usually the setting. So there, that's pretty good. So lost a bit of volume there. And then basically, you know, all you'd have to do there is just copy that setting through the instruments that you want to sidechain. So that's another way you can do it. So there's a few different sidechain options. Yeah. I think for me, I tend to go track spacer. So we've got, you know, an okay sound going there. And the main thing is, you know, like with these things, you're only really putting it on the instruments that are really bothering you. So anyway, we've got our band set up there. So now I've got my sort of band with all my instruments. I can just happily go off and splurge an album probably with this. So we could, for example, if you come to the master here, if I remember rightly, so I can start putting in different tempos. So I could have 80 maybe. Let's have an 80. Okay. Right, this is more. Right, I'll use that. That's more vaporwave, isn't it? Not the most ideal drums for this, but anyway, I'm going to go with it. How about maybe have something that's a bit like. Like that. Maybe that. We'll get a bit of interest going. Oh, that sounds good. Let's get that in. Okay. So one of my wins problems and opportunities problems was arpeggio is really boring, needs some effects. So basically, like a go-to thing here would be for third party, because I think everybody could have this. You know, it costs $50. Just to have just a delay. Valhalla delay is really good. You can just try dotted. There you go, that's sounding good. So, in my lead now, because I'm thinking of these as band members, this is getting an upgrade now. So, I'm going to use pitch drift for this. So that's a handy thing to have there. Now it's really vaporwave now. Okay. Right, let's have some questions. I've got a little bit of time. Alright, I'm curious how to arrange this and leave space for the guitar. That's very good, Atari. And you know what? I'm going to... it's Tuesday today. I'm going to answer that very question Thursday. But fundamentally, like, if I had that, you just make room, wouldn't you? So, we could go high pine gap. Okay, so I think for this bass I'm going to do something a bit different. Oops. So it's just a question of making some room in it. Anyway, all of these will sound a mess now. Okay. Alright, so I'm just getting a call to end this live just now. Just quickly catch up in the chat before I have to go here. Sorry, anybody who I've ignored you. Right, so do you own SSL vocal strip? I do, and I tried it out on some vocals and I couldn't get what I wanted out of it, so I had to do my own thing. Pine Gap, do you need a new synth plugin? Right, hi Pine Gap. If I haven't said that already. Excellent, right. Okay, so I think we've all learned something. So that's just, some basic template building and some sort of basic ideas. But fundamentally, I mean, you just want to pick some instruments and you want to think of it like your drums, your bass, your mid, and your lead. And that's it, and you're off. And then you just go through a process of upgrading each player, really. All right, we've got a sub. Thank you. Thank you, Electric Crystals. Very, very kind. So we'll be here. I'll be here next Thursday and Friday for sure. And I hope everybody's getting on. So I think what we'll do is we'll do a little bit more on the template building, so you can see how I got to what I got to on my particular template and the things that sort of I do there. So we'll do that. And all good stuff. Thank you for tuning in. See you.